So first of all, welcome back to our AP prep session. I am a little concerned only because I know that a lot of people have all sorts of obligations and conflicts. But I also know the exam is, it's funny. Normally I would say the exam's not getting further away, but actually today it's not entirely true because I just heard and I posted it on the course blog. So I'm going to share the screen for this. That the exam has now been moved back to May 20th at 11 in the morning. So you can all see where I'm pointing.
Yeah.
So please make sure that that's on your calendar. And I know I've asked a few times, Dr. Martinez has been working really hard to support students who need anything at all to take the exam. But everybody on this call has what they need in terms of devices and internet access.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, awesome. And if you have a friend in the class who, for whatever reason, hasn't been in touch but has an issue, please ask them. I haven't heard anybody expressing that. I've heard from a lot of people either on the course blog or via email. But obviously, from where I sit and where the school sits, we want to do everything we can to make sure every student is supported. So that's one thing. The other thing is, if I can scroll over to the tab that I just had. The College Board has put up some stuff about, let me see if I can find the tab more easily than that. One of the challenges of having about 19,000 tabs open at any given time is that they're not always where you left them. So here we go. So I'm clicking on 2020 exam changes. Have you been on the College Board? Have you seen any of this already?
No.
No, I haven't.
Okay. So I thought what might be useful is for us to go over the exam structure today, and then I'm going to put together some materials and put up a prompt for us to write on between now and next week. The good news is that because we have the exam on May 20th, we've got about 4 of these sessions to go through yet, which is more than enough time to prepare for what they're asking. The exam is only going to be 45 minutes, and I say only because normally it's much longer. I may sneeze. I'll keep you in suspense. Excuse me.
Bless you.
Bless you.
So if you look here, I'm going to highlight this. The exams will be 45 minutes long and include an additional 5 minutes for uploading. Students will need to access the online testing system 30 minutes early. So in your calendar, you're not putting 11, you're putting 10:30 to start getting online. And you can take the exam on any device. It doesn't have to be the school device, is my understanding. It can be a computer or even a smartphone. Now, obviously, between you and me, what's the easiest tool to write your essay on? It's not going to be your smartphone. Also, students are now this year able to take the exam using notes. So what I'm going to do, my understanding at this point is that you're going to have one free response question that's going to be a rhetorical analysis. Now, if you think back in our class, one of the things that the AP has said is that they're not going to be testing on anything that is in the AP language and composition curriculum after March 13th. So in a way that actually favors us because, and I appreciate them doing that because obviously it's harder to track the AP side of the course since we've been on Zoom. But if you remember back to when we talked about things like ethos, pathos, and logos, and we talked about the rhetorical tools and the logical fallacies, that is perfect for us because that's what they're going to be asking about. I don't have any illusions that you're like up to speed on that because you've not been thinking about anything else since we did that in class. So what I'm going to do over the next week is I'm going to start posting resources on the course blog for you to be thinking about. And some of those will be mini paragraph exercises. Some of them will be helpful reminders in terms of the content. And then there's going to be one post that has a prompt that I'm going to ask you to write on between now and next week. And when you do that, you can send it to me as a Google Doc and I'll edit and annotate it. You can put it on your course blog and ask for a comment, whatever will help get you the feedback. I'll even jump on a Zoom with you one-on-one if you want the extra help. So let me pause there and ask if you have any questions so far. So far, so good?
So far, so good, yeah.
Okay. The last piece of good news, I feel like I'm full of good news today. The last piece of good news is that one of the things that the exam, and let me see if I can find this for you. Somewhere in here, maybe it's on a different page. Oh, here, open book, open notes. So yes, it's not easy. Well, this wasn't the page where I saw it. One of the things that you get to have next to you, you can't go on collaborative websites, you can't search things up on the internet, and really in 45 minutes, that wouldn't help you anyway. I would tell you if it would. At this point, I would do almost anything as long as it was ethical to help get you through this, including telling you that one of the things that you are allowed to have next to you is any resource that your teacher prepares for you. So guess what? Now that I know what's going to be on the test, or at least a little bit, I'm going to collaborate with as many people around the country as I can find right now to see if they know anything that I don't, because sometimes we get different information depending on which campus. But I'm going to prepare an outline and a process so that you can literally go step by step while you're taking the exam. You can print that out, have it right next to you. I'll show you how to use it well before the exam. In fact, I'll write an essay that demonstrates it, and we'll go through that together, probably either next Friday or the Friday after, just to get some time and practice. So my hope is that by the time you actually have to sit down and go online to take the test, that you have a pretty good idea about what's going to come. You'll have, it's not a cheat sheet anymore. You'll have an online or an offline resource right next to you that you can refer to, and you can go through it step by step. What I'm wondering at this point is, as you think about this, what questions do you have, and what would you like me to be thinking about that I haven't mentioned?
For the actual question, like what they're gonna ask us on, like I understand like it's gonna we have to write an essay, but like will they give us as to like what kind of essay like it will be, or like what we're writing on exactly, like beforehand by chance, or no?
Yeah, so I mentioned, so what I've gotten so far is that it's going to be a rhetorical analysis.
Mm-hmm.
And what that means is that you'll get, in the past, it's looked like a speech or a nonfiction piece, and you'll be asked questions about the rhetoric, the study of language that contributes to persuasion or understanding, that you break it down, explain it, and put it back together. So, for example, if you're reading a speech about, I don't know, gun control, it might be something like analyzing the ethos, pathos, logos, talking about the the author's use of evidence, talking about the logistical fallacies. Remember how we talked about things like ad hominem fallacy or appeal to popularity? Remember that kind of stuff?
Yeah.
So basically what I'm going to be doing is creating a reference guide for you so that you can remind yourself of how to do the analysis part. What are the kinds of things to look for? What do you need to have in your essay? And how to read the prompt, make sure that you're clear on the task, introduce it with a clean thesis statement, and support it with the kind of evidence they're looking for, so that really the only wild card is going to be the sophistication and the voice of your own writing. Does that make sense?
Yeah, thank you.
Sure. You know how some people can take a recipe for a cake and they'll put the ingredients together, but it's not the same thing as when somebody else takes those exact same ingredients and all of a sudden it's like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
so in a way, what we haven't gotten as much of because we haven't been in class together is the practice of writing the kinds of paragraphs and then sharing those with people at our tables and with me in general. But what my hope is that enough people are getting the practice of doing this independently and just writing the journals, the blog posts. We have ample opportunity for people to get that kind of practice, and then applying that. You know, you're all very well spoken. I'm very confident in everyone who's on this call, and most of the people that I've gotten to know this year in the class, extremely articulate, thoughtful people. that really is the least of my worries. I want to make sure that we're touching all the bases, and that's why I'm still doing my homework to make sure that you have that resource next to you when you take the test.
Yeah, that would be really helpful. Thank you.
Sure. No, I'm happy to do that. So here's what I'm going to do. Today or over the weekend, have a look for a post on the course blog, because as I get more information, I'm just going to be literally passing it right along. I'm also going to put up a little piece on rhetorical analysis to get you started. I'm probably going to nose around and see if the College Board has any specific lessons or videos on that. And then as that's happening, I'm going to take notes and show you what I'm looking for. And then as we get into early next week and get done with the Fahrenheit 451 essay, we'll go ahead and look at a prompt together. I'll model it, and on the screen, like in a call like this, I'll share my screen, and I just realized I'm still sharing my screen, and I'll actually show you my own process. I'll open a word processor and start writing, and we'll do that together a couple of times between now and the AP exam. Does that sound good?
Yeah, that sounds good.
Yeah, sounds great.
Okay. If you have a friend who's not able to jump on the calls, please, please, please encourage them. And I'm trying to reach out as well to at least watch the recordings when they can. I know that some people have obligations, but obviously, you know, there's no harm in this, and it's 45 minutes that could get you college credits. So I'm really hoping that people take advantage and do well. And for you guys, thank you. I really appreciate the commitment that you're showing, and showing up also helps me not feel so alone online.
Well, thank you for for having doing this for us to help us prepare.
You're welcome. It's my pleasure. I'm looking forward to it. And if you need anything over the weekend, you know where to find me. Otherwise, I will see you at 1 o'clock on Monday.
Okay. Bye, Mr. Preston.
Bye,
Bye,
everybody.
Mr. Preston.
Have a good weekend.
Thank you. You too.